Hello everyone and welcome. I'm Smitty and today I have a guide for the Mage Tower for Windwalker Monk in Legion Timewalking. So this is the transmog that you get from completing the challenge. Looks really good, and I found these one-handers called Greed that I thought was a pretty nice touch. So pretty cool looking. I really like it. Looks good, I think. Way better than what I was wearing before, just random stuff. So let's first dive into gear. Now you can definitely go and like buy gear, all that, but you really don't need to. This is a marathon fight. You basically won't rock down. You can extend the fight for a good bit. And during that kill clip, I'll give you some tips and tricks on how to deal with certain things and how to make it to where once you do get to the burn phase, so you will win. But I did opt to run my Heart of Azeroth that I had. It was a bit better than what I had. It's got crit haste mastery. Honestly, I'm pretty sure that Windwalker currently really wants crit and then burst. This is an alt, so it's got a bunch of random gear. I think I'm like item level 188 or something, so it's just random stuff. So you can get pretty much anything with gem sockets. Really nice. Just gem for crit and gem for agility. Let's talk about consumables a bit. I did go and grab some drums. I've been using drums of ferocity. They're not too overpriced. And the nice thing about this fight is you're pretty much popping your drums later in the encounter. So you don't end up wasting a bunch, like if you have to use it on pull, if you just wipe. This took me about 30, or I think maybe 31 pulls to kill it. I also use sharpening stone on my weapon for a little extra attack power, flask, stuff like that. Your basics. Notably, Potion of Unbridled Fury is really good. So next, let's take a dive into talents. This is a guide on Wowhead, and I'll put a link to this in the description box. I'm going to go row by row and show you what I use, talk about that a bit. So Chi Wave, an absolute must. I would use this on cooldown, and I want to make a note that it seemed like it worked better the closer I was to my target. I'm not sure. I'm not a great Windwalker Monk player, but it seemed to not do too well if I ranged it. So I tried to use it and stay pretty close to the target I used on. It's also really good for DPSing down the larger groups of ads, and I'll talk about that a bit during the kill clip. Tiger's Lust is recommended. I'm pretty sure any of these can be used. I use Chi Torpedo because it's just what I'm used to and comfortable with, but Tiger's Lust is probably a bit better. You're not really going to get rooted or snared that I'm aware of, so it's really just a move speed. Fist the White Tiger, I actually prefer to play Ascension here. It gives you the increased energy regeneration by 10%, which I found to be really nice, especially for healing myself. So I went this route instead, but this will give you more damage. It's another damage ability, plus it's going to give you those 3 chi. That's really powerful. 35 row, good karma, I would say is a must. I mean, I feel like you could probably beat it without it, but it's just so much safer. Tiger Tail Sweep could be useful there because when I show the kill clip, there are points when you want to be using your Tiger Tail Sweep, or at least where I used it to be pretty consistent. Diffuse Magic, maybe not a must, but I found this to be really powerful too. Another extra DR. One thing that I really struggled with during this encounter was just staying alive, so I tried to play for that. I did run Dance of Chi-Ji, which is really nice for, I mean, it's just, the procs feel great. Matter of fact, I think during my burn phase on the kill, I got 2 of these procs. Pretty nice. Hit combo is pretty good here as well. I feel like it's pretty good, but I do want to give the edge to Dance of Chi-Ji just for procs. Whirling Dragon Punch, also the best in my humble opinion. Just more damage. It's really nice. Extra AoE. I did try Serenity for about 5 to 10 pulls. It didn't feel that great, but it could be really nice, potentially. Especially for maybe the burn phase. So let's go ahead and dive right into the kill clip. I'll try to walk everyone through kind of my thought process as I was going through this, and also explain some of the mechanics of the encounter. So Tugar, he has a cast that has to be interrupted. If you don't interrupt it, you die, but you can survive it with Karma. Sonic Scream, you want to paralysis. Use paralysis every time, and as you see, I just hovered the boss plate on the right of the display here, and just used a mouse over macro. These are the ads I'm talking about, and during this phase, you basically just want to kill ads, cleave on the blood totem, and also try to run the charges into those rocks. The rocks effectively remove a stack from the main boss, and the boss starts with 9, so you can technically get 3 off each phase, but it's not a big deal if you don't. You can extend the fight quite a bit. Jormog, as you've seen there, will always cast that Sonic Scream every time after she first comes up. Also, there's the totems that you need to kill. I was just using Crackling Jade Wind. It only takes 1 hit, no big deal. And I was glad right here is the leg sweep. So the second one you won't be able to interrupt with paralysis, so I was always trying to leg sweep it. However, if you do miss it, it won't kill you. It probably takes about 20% of your HP, except during the burn phase whenever the main boss is enraged. So it's pretty common to have a lot of mechanics at once. Just kind of realize my priority was always first interrupt Tugar. The counter's just over unless you got like good karma or karma up or something like that. I think you can survive with diffuse magic as well. Also, another tip, I would say do not interrupt Tugar at the end of his cast, because I know sometimes it doesn't necessarily reset his cast timer, so your interrupt wasn't coming up until the very end of his cast, which felt really scary and caused a couple wipes for me mashing it, and I guess my input latency or whatever the case was prevented me from getting the interrupt. So you see, I always just bring them there and stack them. Those 3 boulders that come down, they come down in the same place every time, so you don't want to get hit by that. They do a pretty big chunk of damage. As you see, I'm baiting out the charge into... I'm thinking about my positioning and trying my best to bait my charge directly into those rocks. Now I got a moment to breathe for just a second. Let's talk about how the hell you survive. So I did this on Beast Mastery Hunter, and your pets just live. I mean, you got all the passive leech, so it's pretty nice. Here, I didn't have any leech. It was pretty much to my own devices. So I do cast... yeah, I'm pretty low here. It's completely okay to vivify yourself. And I also use, I believe it's called Expel Harm. I'm not sure. You see it's going on cooldown there. That will give you a little bit of healing. And there's, when you kill these ads, you got the little orbs that give you a little bit of healing. So I definitely kept my chi wave on cooldown as much as possible. Another example of multiple mechanics. Another thing to point out, that X in the middle, you have a lot of time to move out of it, probably around 5 seconds. So it's not a big deal. If you got another mechanic that needs to be taken care of, it's completely cool just to knock that out first. So this is most of it, but now you see the main boss, Jormog, no longer has the 9 stacks. So at this point, you always want to pull these together and cleave them. And my suggestion would be to always fight Jormog the most and put the most damage into the worm, because you have a very limited amount of uptime. So in my humble opinion, it's best just to DPS the worm down and get as much damage as you can. And a tip I'd like to share is to try to, if you can afford to, save your karma for those phases and let the Jormog go ahead and cast that second sonic wave instead of stunning it, just to put some more damage into the worm there. So that's most of the fight. This is pretty much all of phase 1. Get those stacks off, make sure you get your interrupts, etc. And then you're just focusing down Jormog every burn phase you have. Now, a tip I'd like to share as well is you can extend this fight quite a bit by not DPSing Tugar, and just you can pretty much wait until the right time. See, I get pretty low here because I wasn't in range for my leg sweep. So it's completely fine to pretty much relax on Tugar until you get Jormog low enough to where you feel like you can kill it. Because once that enrage does hurt quite a bit, and it's honestly best if you do have a karma available and your diffuse magic. That's when you want to use your drums, etc. We'll be getting to that relatively soon. This is going to be a lot of rinse and repeat. So we're just chilling, lots of mechanics going off at once. That's the main challenge of this encounter, is just interrupting Tugar, dealing with the totem, and casting paralysis on Jormog. You can do those things consistently, you'll be able to get this fight down after a few attempts. And if you're actually good at Windwalker, you'll probably do way better than me. I would say absolutely never pop your drums before you kill Tugar. I did that on one attempt thinking I was going to cleave him down and then go right into the burn. I didn't get Tugar down in time, so Jormog went underground, therefore causing another phase, so I pretty much wasted most of my additional haste that was provided by drums. I'm just chilling, I'm avoiding getting hit, I'm interrupting, doing all the things, and I'm going to do my best to get some more burn over on a Jormog. I would say sub 50% you're probably chilling. Also, I'm using DBM pack, the challenges pack specifically, that gives me timers for this and it's making all the noises for me. It was a little difficult for me to watch the timer because I'm honestly, like I said before, just not that great at Windwalker. It's fun spec. I've never really mained it. All the gear is bad, so I really had to focus on my rotation as well. So I want to point out about those ads too. They have that cast, so the lower you get them, whatever the additional ad that they spawn will be spawned with that same percentage of HP. So it is worth it to get them down to a reasonable HP. Also, Jormog's hitbox is pretty large. This is an excellent showcase of that. So you can comfortably attack the worm from pretty far out. Always get Tugar casts first. Never, you see, I was getting a little worried there. But as long as you get that Tugar cast, also you can get ran over by the worm during that. So yeah, lots of things that can just ruin your day. I had lots of wipes that were pretty close, pretty challenging. Nice Chi proc. The best time to get the procs, huh? So I'm about to be going into this next phase, and what I'm thinking here is I want to get as much HP before I go into the burn. I'm at about 33%, and that's more than enough. So I've already used my paralysis, so I've only got the leg sweep left, and then I'm sitting on my karma as well. I've already used my drums here, so now I'm trying to get out as much damage as possible. It's also notable, once you get them below your health, make sure to save one of your touch of death for this burn phase. But I also found it nice during the encounter to use touch of death for... I'm going to go ahead and use diffuse magic to reduce some damage, heal myself up a bit. Get the Chi G procs. You see the boss is trucking me and I go ahead and mash touch of death. It feels pretty good. That one was... Woo! That was pretty tough, as you can hear me exclaiming in the end of the clip here. So that was a pretty fun encounter. I had a little bit of experience with it, just not on the monk. I'd be interested to hear if you're having any difficulty with the Windwalker monk, and what points in the fight you are. And if you are, go ahead and leave it in the comment section below, and I'll try to help you the best I can. Also, I plan on doing more of these Mage Tower guides, so I'd be curious, what guide are you interested in seeing? What specialization and class? I've completed 6 so far. I'm hoping to complete it for my entire account before Timewalking ends, which gives me about another 2.5 weeks. We shall see. Sounds pretty tough. Also, go ahead and follow me over at Twitch at twitch.tv/OldSmitty. I'll put a link to that in the description box below. And lastly, if you found this video informative or helpful, go ahead and drop a like, and if you would like to kindly subscribe. So appreciate it, and thanks for watching. Until next time, I'll see you then.